At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia. From education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia. From education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia. From education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Asonisie. A pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia. Thank you, and thank you for joining the broadcast. The nation Liberia is always the focus and also a responsibility, as well as informing the people of Liberia. My name is Asonisie. This is the Hour of Politics. This is your network Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and we promote all things Liberia. The topic for today's edition of the Hour of Politics, and we are doing an analysis based on what is being reported at the Executive Protection Service, the EPS, in the Republic of Liberia. Topic for today's analysis: mass dismissal at the Executive Protection Service, that is the EPS in Liberia. What is going on? It has been reported now that nearly 200 agents, 200 Liberians, nearly 200 citizens of our country who were recruited, hired, trained, and subsequently employed by the Liberian government at the Executive Protection Service in Liberia have been reportedly dismissed by the current administration. Those dismissed are saying it is the head, the new director now for the EPS, in person of Mr. Sam Gay, who has come down with this decision to let them go. Multiple media outlets have reported and confirmed that this has actually happened. That nearly 200 Liberian citizens who were hired during the administration of President George Manawia issued letters of employment, who served their country from 2018, the year they got hired, to this year 2024 have been dismissed and let go and no longer in the employment or employed of the Executive Protection Service. The question now is, what did they do? Or what's the reason why they've been dismissed? Those dismissed are not quiet about this. They are not happy about this. They are informing the world and they are calling on leaders in the country to come to their help. They are requesting the intervention of our leaders. They believe that their firing is illegal. Another thing they said is that they are being targeted by the current leadership of the Executive Protection Service. According to them, in their allegation, the new administration of the Executive Protection Service believes that they are unqualified. And in fact, the leadership of the Executive Protection Service confirmed through media reports that those that they have fired are not qualified and that they are not competent in any shape and form to provide executive protection service for anybody to ensure the safety of the president, the vice president, the speaker, and international guests of Liberia. That they did not meet the minimum qualification for a serviceman in the Executive Protection Service, and so they have fired or let go nearly 200 agents from that agency. This is based on media reports. But those being dismissed are saying, look, we were hired, we were trained, we went through all the employment processes. We got training. The previous government has deemed us qualified and fit to provide executive service for not only the president, the vice president, the speaker, but also for foreign guests of Liberia. And so for the new administration to be saying that we are not qualified, they are in error. And in fact, they further that the way they have fired us is wrong. We were not given due process. They further that there was no any evaluation process put into place that they have participated in that brought them out or identified them as unqualified to provide executive protection service. Instead, I call it told them the Director General and his new administration weeded them out, targeted them because, unquote, they are not loyal to the current administration and that they are seditions. In other words, they are policies of CDC. They were hired during the administration of the CDC government. They are alleging that that is the only and sole reason why the Director General took the decision to let about 200 of them go and fired. 200 of them gone and fired. Now, they are also saying when the executive director now, or the director of the EPS had appeared for confirmation hearing at the Liberian Senate, he spoke that he who dismissed agents at the EPS who, according to them, he had deemed unqualified. They are saying that was when he has gone for confirmation. And he was making a promise to the Senate that I will let go people who I will find unqualified. So they are saying that this man has a premeditated attempt or plan to let some people go that he has deemed unqualified, unfit to provide executive protection service in Liberia. And so they are saying this was calculated. This was a plan that this new Director General has come with to let them go, because he assumed that the fact that they got hired during the time of the past administration, they must be seditions. There is this narrative that has been in the government circle now, and in the political circle, so to speak, that the previous government of George Manawia and the CDC hired so many people who were not Liberian citizens, but seditions. Because they will say, well, they just hire sedition, they just hire sedition, they just hire seditions. The question is, are seditions not Liberians? But that has been the narrative, that they hire a bunch of seditions. They never said they have hired Liberian citizens. And the coded language sedition mean that they are not qualified, and that CDC did not do any due diligence, did not put people through a process, any responsible process. It was like, oh, you are a policy, so bomb, get in the police, get in the EPS, and everywhere else. That is the narrative. That is the assumption, that nearly everyone hired during the past administration got hired because they happen to be members of CDC, and there was no requirement concerning qualification whatsoever. Now, if there was no qualification required, was there any training done? They are saying, the dismissed agents are saying, we are qualified, we were recruited, we were trained, we were given employment letters. So for the sake of argument, I say, okay, they were not qualified. All right. But this was a government that recruited, trained, hired these individuals. They served from 2018 to 2024. If you want to let them go, what should be the process? What is the requirement? There must be a cause for letting someone go. What is the cause for letting these people go? They are saying they are unqualified. But the previous government didn't then qualify. This government is saying they are not qualified. Are we setting a dangerous precedent? Because it's obvious these two parties that have been controlling government, the CDC and the Unity Party, we know they don't love each other. They despise each other. They hate each other, to the greater extent, right? So now Unity Party is in power to say, well, if you were hired during the CDC time, you must not be qualified, and you're not fit. You're not the kind of citizen that deserve an employment. We will let you go. Is that the scenario that we are seeing here? Because these people are saying, we just received letters dismissing us. There was not a process that they subjected us to that we participated in that graded us unfit and unqualified before firing us or receiving these letters of termination? Nothing. So the question is, how then did the EPS, through its director, come to this conclusion that these people are unqualified and unfit, and we will let them go? How? Now they are saying he's acting on the promise made to the Senate when he had gone for confirmation. Did anybody in the system before him conduct an evaluation process that identified the individuals as unfit? And was that the information he was acting on when he appeared at the Senate? He must be acting on some information. This is a security personnel. The current director now was also director during the previous administration, the administration of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. At the time when he was EPS director, the manpower was 450 personnel, 450 persons or EPS agents. Those were the individuals that were trained, some hired, and also trained, who provided executive protection service. And if you don't know the EPS is almost like an elite security agency that provides executive security services for the president, the vice president, the speaker, and dignitaries of the Liberian government, especially the executive branch of government. So it's a secret service. That was what we used to call secret service before. Now it's called executive protection service, because the primary goal there is to provide executive security service for the executive branch of government, but it's being extended to the speaker as well. So he was director during early time. The manpower was 450. What is the manpower now? The manpower now is 900 agents. What that means is an additional 450 persons were hired from 2018 till now, to put it that way. So the manpower has been doubled. The agents are saying the previous government had deemed it necessary to increase the strength or the manpower of the EPS, because the 450, according to the previous government, was deemed very low. Do you believe 450 agents who are well trained, not enough to provide security for the president, the vice president, and the speaker, and foreign guests who are guests of the government of Liberia? 450 trained men. If you got a 450 trained men in front of a building, you're going to see like a multitude of people, right? And we're talking about people set aside to provide security for primarily 3 officials of government. And even if the people they have to provide protection for, like maybe 10 persons, or 4 persons, or 5 persons, is that number enough or not enough? But according to the dismissed agents, the previous government said, look, the number is very low, we're going to increase it. Now, Sam Gay now might be saying, look, all of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, we are only 450. And we provided security for the president, the vice president, and the speaker, and guests of the Liberian government. And at that time, that number was enough. So how can They double this number. Is he thinking that this is way too much? Is he just using this narrative that these people are unqualified, they are unfit, as a justification to reduce the number significantly? Because in the judgments of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, or in his judgment when he was head, because he needed to recommend to the president that, well, this number is small. It said he believed that that number of 450 was enough, and so he cannot deal with 900. I want to believe 900 is way too much. 900 agents, nearly 1,000 persons to provide security for the president, vice president, and the speaker and foreign guests, way too much. You got to look at their pay. You got to look at their uniform. They have to be equipped. They carry guns. They must all be armed. If not, all of them, when they are on duty, they won't carry a weapon. If they can't carry a weapon, they must carry something else that they can use to provide protection for the president, the speaker, the vice president, or any foreign guests of the Liberian government. I agree. 900 is way too much. So, if 900 is way too much, looking at the cost and benefit analysis, is that a reason why, as these people are alleging, they've been arbitrarily dismissed and terminated without a due process? Because they are saying they were not given due process. They were not subjected to any evaluation process. Nothing whatsoever. And some of them are saying they stay in possession of the arms or the weapons that they were given. They were still in possession of these things and they fired them. Some of them are even refusing that. They have not even reached out to them to ask them to return what they had in their possession when they served. They've never been asked. Now, the headline here is Liberia. Terminated EPS agency lawmakers' intervention as colleagues linger behind bars. So as we speak, it's been reported that some of the EPS security officers dismissed are behind bars. They have been arrested, and their colleagues are calling for them to be released because they were protesting their dismissal. And so they were arrested by the Liberian National Police. They are even saying, during their press conference, this is their press conference they held at the grounds of the Capitol, at the legislature. They said that some of their colleagues who were arrested were brutalized by the police. How true is this? Can there be a very responsible and professional way of handling this matter? They are also saying they was dismissed and now being told what next to do, what next to expect in terms of benefits. They just received the letters that they were terminated. And now they are calling on the legislature to intervene. These are family members. These are Liberian citizens who are responsible for mostly members of their immediate family for their survivability or survival. And they have just been cut off like that, according to them, without any prior notice. If there's any prior notice they may have received, is the statement by now the Director General, the new Director, Sam Gay, when he went for confirmation at the Senate, that I will fire people There are a lot of unqualified people there. And so the way to do it is to just determine who is unqualified and issue a letter, and that person is gone as the dismissed agents are alleging. There has not been any denial from the EPS that these people have been dismissed because they are unqualified. The EPS has not denied that. So it is now reasonable to say that the EPS dismissed the people because the EPS has determined that they are unqualified and unfit. And so the almost 200 people were gone and issued letters of termination. No due process. There is no recognizing that these are Liberian citizens who were hired by the previous government. They have employment letters in their possession. I don't know if or not the current administration of the EPS has verified the employment process that was done by the previous administration to have come to the conclusion. Somebody is saying about 300 of them. That is possible. The report we are basing our analysis on said nearly at the time it was reported, which is today. So the fact that the strength of the EPS jumped from 450% to 900 between a jump from 450 to 900. So the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration was 450%. By the time the We Are government was concluded, the number grew to 900. Additional 450% have been added. So if this person, that is Eugene Arakere, is saying that 300 people they fired, the government of Joseph Walker is not denying that this number of Liberians have been fired in a very relatively short time. And the only explanation that we are getting from them is that they are unqualified. How they verify their employment to come to this is not being told. The Director General of the EPS is an intelligent man. He's a security guy. He's acting on information. Can he provide the information? Because to just say this person is unqualified and unfit, it means that that person has been evaluated. I am all about having people who are trained, competent, and qualified. Everybody should be for that. When you are talking about providing security for the president or the presidency, providing security for even our foreign guests, our leaders, it is a business or a responsibility that must be taken serious. It must be done and executed by people who are trained and qualified. No question about that. So, if or since the new EPS director is saying these people that we are letting go are not qualified, it is not enough, because somebody watching the show now may say, well, this guy who is the host is not qualified because of his presentation. That is the person's perception based on what they see now. Is that enough? For me to be considered or judged or evaluated as unqualified, there must be a standard evaluation process agreed upon that I participate in, and then when I fail to meet the minimum requirement based on my performance, maybe it's a test, maybe it's a practical test, maybe it's a rating test, maybe it's a knowledge test. How much knowledge do I have about what I'm doing? How is it done? What are the basics of what I'm doing? And if I don't demonstrate that knowledge, the crewman will say the knowledgeability or that, then you can say, well, it has been proven based on this evaluation process that in terms of application of the knowledge, you fail, you score 0 or 20. In terms of the knowledge test of this, reading the material and then answering the questions, knowing all the rudiments of this particular profession, you have no understanding, you have no idea what you're talking about. You fail. So as a result of that, we will have to let you go because this is a serious business. This is a serious responsibility. You must have an idea what your roles and responsibilities are, how to execute those roles and responsibilities. You must know how you conduct those things. And we ask these questions asking you, how do you protect the president, for example? What is the rule of engagement? What is the standard procedure? How do you escort a president? What is escort? You did not answer a single question, or you have demonstrated significant limited knowledge on these things. As a result, you are a risk. You are a security risk to the president or whoever you provide or security for. So, and also, we are doing this test because we're trying to cut down the strength. This number is too much. And so we want to identify that, those who are the most qualified should stay, and the least qualified or not qualified should go. That information will be communicated to those people. They are humans, they have conscience. Everyone knows or understands their own ability, even if one doesn't want to pretend. So if you give them a process and give them the opportunity to prove themselves, and they fail to prove themselves, and they see that their colleagues are proving themselves, then at least you have a reliable basis for acting. At least you have given them a due process for acting. But as the dismissed agents are alleging, nothing like that was done. They narrated that in order for someone to be dismissed from the Executive Protection Service, that person must be dismissed for a cause. This must be dismissed for a cause. And according to them, that cause is stated in the Decent Work Act, and it's also stated in the regulation governing the EPS. And their dismissal is now based on any of the causes stated within the laws governing dismissal and employment in the Republic of Liberia. And that they were dismissed based on perception and on the notion that they were hired by CDC government, and so there must be citizens who are not qualified, and so they must go. That is their accusation. So, folks, this is a serious matter. These are fellow citizens who are alleging that they were not given due process. These are fellow citizens who dismissal in this mass fashion not be denied by the current government through the EPS. Now they went to the legislature and said, hey, you have to come here. You are our direct representatives. We have been dismissed here in violation of the Constitution. We've been dismissed here in violation of the decent work out of Liberia. We've been dismissed without cause. We've been targeted. We've been discriminated against by the EPS. They are alleging, the people are saying, the reason they're getting rid of us because we're hired by the previous government. The previous government was CDC, and so we are seditions, and they are acting as though we are not Liberians. We have been targeted. You cannot fire somebody because of their identity. Now, they may even make an argument that when they were taking oath to protect the president, the vice president, and the speaker, and other dignitaries of Liberia, they took oath as Liberian citizens. They were not hired, so we are hiring you because you are a citizen. They said we were hired as Liberians. We were trained as Liberians. We took oath as Liberians. We took oath as agents of the Executive Protection Service. So if there is any truth to their allegation, then let us ask the EPS director. He was hired by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Will it be fair for someone to assume that he was hired because he was a Unity Party partisan, and so on that basis he's not qualified? Let's assume these people were citizens. Let's agree that they were citizens. What's wrong with hiring citizens, training them, and employing them? Are citizens not Liberian? The EPS director was hired by Unity Party government during early time to be EPS boss. Unity Party hired him again to be EPS boss, as though he is the only Liberian who is qualified to be director for EPS, as though he is the only Liberian Unity Party sees or knows that can serve as EPS director. This is the second time coming to the job. This is Unity Party's second time hiring him. So Unity Party knows this man. It's illogical to assume that he's a Unity Party partisan. Is that why Unity Party is hiring him? Because he was hired by Unity Party, can we assume that he's a Unity Party partisan? Because if this allegation by these dismissed agents, has any truth, he's saying these people will let them go because they were hired by CDC, they must be seditions. Does that mean that when one is a sedition, that one cannot be qualified? The only unqualified people are seditions? We have a serious matter here. There is the question of fairness or unfairness with this process. Is this fair? The manner in which the Liberians were let go, the way their daily bread was taken from them. Now, to put a little more of a political analysis on this, we have a government that is here to rescue Liberia. And to rescue someone in distress, there are so many things you can do. When you come to rescue somebody, your goal is to relieve the person of distress, to take them out of danger. Your goal is not to put the person through stress. Your goal is not to make the person vulnerable. Your goal is to be of help to the person. For the sake of argument, let's say these individuals are unqualified. What do? Do you dismiss whatever process brought them and just fire them at will? Or do you come up with a process where their dignity can be respected as Liberian citizens? If anyone is wrong here with the employment of these individuals that have been deemed unqualified now, they didn't hire themselves. They didn't recruit themselves. The government of Liberia did hire them and employ them. So if anyone is in the wrong, if there is wrong here with the employment of these individuals, then it is the very Liberian government that have done wrong to have hired 450 people and pretty much about 90% or 95% unqualified. So it is the Liberian government, if this is to be true, that these people are completely unqualified, then it is the Liberian government that has done a disservice to the nation and its leaders. So how do you hold the Liberian government accountable? Or who do you hold accountable on this subject? The individuals who are seeking employment to survive and provide for their families, or the government of Liberia that made a conscious decision to employ people who could not do the job? Who do you hold responsible? And if you are holding people accountable, who should bear the greatest responsibility of the accountability that you are bringing to bear? The one who committed the wrong, or the one who is the victim of the wrong? There is always a better way to solving any problem. And a government that is on a rescue mission should know how to rescue people. Before one execute a rescue mission, one must study the terrain. One must assess the risk. One must come with an approach that will lead to rescuing the one in distress and not making the person vulnerable and not putting the person in more danger. While we see they could have done better. There could be a better way to approach this. Now you have people fired who are in possession of firearms. Now you let people go who are dissatisfied, who are protesting, some of them be arrested, be put behind bars. That could be avoided if, at most or at least, a process that all agents will participate in, because the EPS boss is quoted in one newspaper as saying that they evaluated, that those who they saw as unfit, they fire. Those ones they saw as qualified, they are sending them to the police academy for further training. And they're not joking about it. Those people must be gone. Have they paid them? Well, maybe their pay can come later, right? So this is a serious matter that our leaders have to handle. One cannot actually be sure if this has been done properly. I can only tell you for a fact that it could have been done better. And the way it's been done. Now, you have supporters of the previous government. Seditions are saying, our people are being witch hunted by this government. The government now is being accused of witch hunt. Because even with the assets recovery thing, the individuals who being reported that the government went after to, retrieve government assets, at least the ones being reported are former officials of the citizen government, the police director, for example, and then the former chief of protocol, Finambon. These are the two previous government officials, based on reports and facts known in the public, that the assets recovery team had gone after. There's no information ever since then of other officials who they have gone after to retrieve government assets. And now we are talking about firing people, terminating the employment of Liberians. There is now another cry here that the people being terminated here were people hired by the previous administration, and so they are sedition and they are getting rid of them. Let us beware that as this government may be well-intentioned to have an effective and qualified and trained secret service for the country of Liberia, they must exercise due diligence, due process, respectability. The rights of all should be protected and respected as they carry on this process or these processes of breaking the reforms that they say they are breaking. A responsible government must do things in a responsible fashion. That is the way to do it. Anything short of that is a recipe for dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction can lead to chaos, as we've seen already. These people are protesting. They're being arrested by police. They are at the Capitol. They are having press conferences. They are making threats. They are saying they have guns in their possession that they will not release to anybody. Some of them are even saying, you come after me, I will resist. Who knows what can happen? What may happen? All of this thing could be avoided if this process were handled professionally. And that these people were respected in the process and treated like Liberian citizens, other than just being viewed as they allege as sedition, and so they're not worthy of any employment, and they must go any means, anyhow, no due process whatsoever. It's unfortunate, it's unfair, and there's got to be a better way to handle this. We have had enough of nonsense in our country. We have had enough of irresponsible government in our country. Our leaders should be thorough, should be careful, all right? They should evaluate situations. They should seek, proper approaches to finding resolutions to the issues that we have. This is not the way to clean a mess. Well, folks, in cyberspace, this is how we will be concluding. But before I do, let me read some comments here quickly. Eugene Arrow Courage said, I hope I got it right, 300 people. He was reminding me that the people being dismayed are about 300. Family here writes, those EPS folks look like drug takers. This is the picture that person is talking about. By the look of somebody, you are saying, if they are taking drugs. All Liberians. Wild allegations all the time. This has serious security implication, and this needs to be taken seriously. I agree. It has serious security implication, and the security authority in Liberia need to exercise caution in handling this matter. Abby Janika, during President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration on May, was also providing security for the president and the other security officials of government. Beautiful. It's good that you mentioned that. So during Ellen time, the strength of the EPS was 450. And this person is saying, during that time of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, we had United Nations, about 15,000 peacekeepers were in Liberia, both civilian and military and security personnel were in the country. Some of them were helping to provide security for the president and other officials of government and other places in our country. So when they left, it became necessary to upbeat the strength of the EPS, and that is the point I believe Jenica is making. Now he's saying there is a logical, a justifiable reason why the number doubled from 450 to 900. That is logical, but I will say that 900 is way too much. But hey, I am not a security personnel. They might have done their assessment. They may have, done their consultation with security personnel. They might have looked at the history of the EPS strength in the past. They might be looking at the population. They might be looking at so many factors to have come to that number. So I can only give my opinion. I don't have all the facts. Now, Edogene C. Blige writes, monitoring from Hartford, Connecticut, U-Board, the EPS director seemed to be one without administrative skills. He's saying, well, the way the man acted, he seems to be without administrative skills. Peter White writes, the best thing Senge should have done was to assign those guys to different area. He said, well, maybe the best thing you have done, assign these people to different area instead of taking their little bread from their mouth. And Fixed Electronics said, the political bulldog. That is the name some people have given me that I don't like. But again, they say they are sticking it on me, and I continue to resist. Evan Morris writes, Gail will cause unforeseen problem for President Boaka. So Evan Morris must have a strong disagreement with Senge. So he's saying the way he proceeded, he may cause some unforeseen problem for Joseph Boaka to dismiss these people who took oath to defend the country, to provide security service for our executives. And now targeting them based on assumptions can cause problem. It can cause problem. The question I ask is, the security personnel that the EPS people that President we are inherited, did they fire about this mass number? Anyone with any information like that? Did they let some of them go at least? Because of assumption that, well, they said Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, they must be loyal to the previous government, so we can't trust them. Did anything like that happen? If it did, I missed that. There might be one or two instances that I'm not sure. But again, folks, this is how we'll come to the end of yet another analytical edition of the Hour of Politics here. I focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony Sie, and I brought you some analysis on mass dismissal at the Executive Protection Service. That is the EPS. Don't forget, this is Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and we promote all things Liberia. That would do it for this edition of the Hour of Politics. Until I see you again when I do, the sun remains. We are all Liberians. Enjoy that sun. Thank you for watching. And never hesitate to share our show always and always. And bye-bye.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.